and welcome to the TRWC, the Real Wrestling Community Tailgate Party for a very special Thursday edition. We're usually here on Wednesday afternoons to preview the upcoming show for Dynamite. However, something came up and I was unable to do the preview show last night. A friend of mine needed me to do something for her, and I had to go and take care of that. So I apologize for that, but I decided, since I wasn't here yesterday and I wasn't able to do the show last week either because I had just had my flu shot and wasn't feeling well, that wasn't really too fair of you for you guys. So I decided to do a review show to review last night's Dynamite today. And tomorrow, hopefully, we will be back on schedule for the tailgate party to preview SmackDown and Rampage. So make sure you guys come in here around 6 o'clock and we will do that. All right, we got a comment. My good friend Carlos is here. Hi, Carlos. Welcome to the show. All right, so I guess nothing really else to cover. I didn't see anything as far as news is concerned. I know people are giving this Ariel guy a hard time about his interview with Tony Khan and things like that. But that's the only thing that I actually saw. I didn't see any actual news for today, but I could be wrong. But if you got anything, let me know. Leave it in the comments section, and we'll talk about that too. But we'll go ahead and get into the show last night. It was decent. It could have been better, but I've actually seen a whole lot worse. So I'm not going to complain too much. I mean, there's some things that I didn't really care too much about. So we'll just go ahead and get into it, okay? I'm not going to have brackets up this time just because that'd be too much to keep up with. So just bear with me. We'll take it segment by segment. Renee Paquette makes her wrestling return last night. She opens the show announcing that she is now a member of the broadcast team. I'm guessing she's doing backstage segments from what we saw her do last night. So Renee Paquette opens the show interviewing Christian Cage. Of course, he does get a very loud reaction. People seem to be happy he was there. Of course, he is from Toronto, so you expect that. But because Christian Cage is such a pro at what he does, he has that unique ability to make the crowd turn on him just like that, even in his hometown, even with the the people from where he is from. He makes them turn on him just like that, by trashing, all the doing the classic trashing the sports teams and all of that stuff, and just making them boo the living daylights out of that guy. So we have that. And then here comes Luchasaurus, and it is Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Did you guys notice that they aren't just simply calling him Jack Perry and Jungle Boy anymore? They're calling him Jungle Jack Perry. I wonder if that's because of, JR, or maybe he's trying to evolve a little bit. I don't know. I think it's a welcome change though. So let's see. My friend Alma is here. She says hello. Doing pretty good this afternoon. Just really busy trying to keep up with everything. And so we have this match, Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And some things that I kind of have here is it doesn't take long for them to set up a table. What are the rules in this company? That's what I want to know. What are the rules for their matches because it seems to not matter. They can do blatantly anything in front of the referee's face and nothing's going to happen. Why can you use a table in a traditional singles wrestling match in this company? I know they're not the only ones. WWE does it too, and I'm sure other companies do it as well, but it just seems really blatant in AEW that they just consistently do this all the time. So I want to put a dare out there. I want to dare AEW to do one show that they don't do that. Have one show where you don't have to pull out the foreign objects. It seems like it happens in every match. You're supposed to only use that stuff when it just gets to the boiling point where nothing else is working. But they're doing it at the drop of a hat every time. And I understand that wrestling has changed and wrestling has evolved some, but there are some elements of the fundamentals of traditional classic wrestling that they should keep a hold of and that they should remember. And it's just the foreign objects things. They seem to not be able to wrestle a match without them. And it just throws me off sometimes. Okay, what do you guys think? Did I say something naughty? Oh, there he is. Ray All Day in the house. I've been giving him so much flack about the Braves and about the Mets, and he likes to give me flack about the Braves. So I'm going to do it just for him. There you go. A nice little present for you. And my friend Harry from Straight Up Wrestling Show, how are you doing today? And almost telling me to preach, preach it totally. Well, thanks a lot. Yeah, so what do you guys think of that? Do you think that AEW uses foreign objects too much? And maybe do you at least maybe agree that they shouldn't be allowed to use tables in a traditional wrestling match, at least not in front of the referee, in front of his face, and him just standing there like a chump? I mean, it's just so obvious that they don't really care about the rules in this company. It just feels, it's just nerve-wracking to me. Okay, we're just saying hello to everybody. That's okay. So that's the main thing that I took from this match. It was okay. Luchasaurus got the win, which he should, because this should not be over. The only way this should be over is when Jungle Boy finally gets his hands on Christian Cage. We don't know when that's going to be really, because Christian, I believe, is still injured. I did not see a timeline on when he's going to be back, but hopefully it won't be too long of a wait, because they're not going to be able to drag this out for a really long period of time, but they at least need to draw it out a little bit for him to be able to get, healed back up and cleared again. So yeah, it looks like that Luchasaurus Jungle Boy alongside Christian Cage, this feud is going to continue. Besides all the little shenanigans, I said the word, that means I need to pull it up. Besides all the shenanigans it was okay match. It got the story across, so there's at least that. What do you guys say? Yes, to the point, not every single match. It goes overboard to an extent. It does. It does. Okay, what do we have next? We had Renee backstage with an interview with Stokely Holloway and Ethan Page. It seems that Private Party's contracts actually belong to the firm. So there is a match set for Rampage. Isaiah Cassidy versus Ethan Page. If Isaiah Cassidy wins, then Private Party's contracts are released from the firm. But if Ethan Page wins, then the firm will also be in charge of Matt Hardy's contract. This felt extremely random. I don't know, maybe they had something on Rampage and I just hadn't seen it, but this was odd and extremely just out there. I'm like, okay, when did they get their contracts? I don't remember Private Party being part of the firm at all. How in the world did they get that? It was just badly explained to me. It didn't make any sense. Is this just to randomly have a match? I mean, there's other ways of setting up a match between Ethan Page and Isaiah Cassidy, or Ethan Page and Matt Hardy eventually. I don't know. This was just weird and random and I don't understand. So maybe you guys in the comments can educate me on what's going on, because I have no clue. What do we see here? Yes, Alma, you did actually win the Drew figurine the other day. Well, good. Hopefully it'll get to you before your birthday. I'm going to send those out tomorrow. Moxley signed a new deal for like 5 years. Yeah, we talked about that on Peaches and Power Bombs on Tuesday. He's going to be exclusively wrestling for AEW and their affiliates. He's no longer going to be allowed to wrestle anywhere else for the next 5 years. Ghost Head Talking Podcasts, I believe those are my friend Joe and all of them over there. Harry said, very good match to start the night, and I agree with you about the rules. Okay. Yes, she started the night out with the interviewing Christian Cage. So decent match. Okay, if you leave all my little critiques out, it wasn't too bad. But this interview with Stokely and Ethan Page, Private Party, Matt Hardy, that didn't make any sense to me. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next thing. Ray says, before we move on, Matt Hardy was terrible, didn't understand at all, totally weird. Also, I noticed Andrade is missing. Did you mean Andre or Andrade? Anyway, yeah, it was just a weird segment. It didn't make any sense. So the next, we had a tag team match with what they are calling Wardlow and Samoa Joe versus the Nightmare Factory, Nick Camarado and QT Marshall. Match was okay. Of course, once again, they had to go around the ring to the outside to start fighting around, and they can't ever just have a wrestling match inside the ring. That's another little pet peeve. Sorry. And it was a good match. I think it did what it was supposed to do. Gets people hyped up about Samoa Joe and Wardlow. And after the match, well, actually, Joe made Nick Camarado, I believe, pass out or tap out or something like that. Wardlow powerbombs QT at the end. He goes to do it again, but he's interrupted by the embassy. I don't know what his manager's name is, but the other guy was Brian Cage. They're saying that, Wardlow and Samoa Joe, they're sticking their nose in their business. They had FTR right where they wanted them, and they come out. They start surrounding the ring, but FTR comes out to even the odds a little bit. FTR gets this really huge pop, and FTR cuts a promo, and I believe that they are going to have a match either on Rampage or they're going to have a match next week. I can't remember which one it was, but all the guys on the babyface side, Wardlow, Samoa Joe, FTR, they are all stupid over to the point where it feels so silly that they are kind of caught up in this. I'm not sure how I feel about Wardlow and Samoa Joe teaming with each other, especially since both of them have singles titles. So what is that? Why are we pulling people with single titles into a tag team? That's weird to me. But like I said, I might maybe just be nitpicking too much. So what do you guys think? Yeah. All that drama nonsense. Oh, I forgot about Sean Spears making his triumphant return as well, doing his 10 thing again. So that was pretty cool. Says Joe will turn and Sean will also feels too predictable. I don't think Joe might turn eventually. Maybe this is what this whole War Joe is eventually going to set up to. I wouldn't mind a Wardlow and Samoa Joe program. I think that would be really awesome, actually. I would enjoy that. And this might just be the way we get there. And in that case, that's okay. I don't think Sean's going to turn. I think he will stay a face at least for a little while. Because I think from the time he started until he kind of disappeared after the MJF thing, he was a heel the entire time. So a babyface Sean Spears would be a little bit of a change of pace. So we'll see. What else we got? Joe from all the podcasts. He's got like 55,000 of them. But I do know that Ringside Dudes at Ringside podcast, which I've been a guest on, and it's awesome. Go check those guys out of there. He says Matt Hardy is a great wrestler, but I think it's time for him to step back and maybe think of becoming a manager of a singles wrestler or a tag team. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Well, I think that's what he's doing with Private Party here, is that he's trying to kind of be their manager but the whole segment with the firm and everything, that's what didn't make sense. I'm okay with Matt Hardy managing Private Party. It's just introducing them to the firm and that little beef with Ethan Page. That was totally random and totally out of nowhere, and it didn't make any sense. Harry says that Joe has always been a singles guy. I don't understand the logic behind it all. No, I don't know too much about his Ring of Honor days, but I know in NXT, I mean, he won that Dusty Cup thing with Finn Balor, but that's the only thing that I know of him being in a tag team. I mean, him and Wardlow, you wouldn't think that two big guys like that would have that interesting dynamic, but they both do, and they both feed off of each other pretty well. I would have thought that it would have been awkward, but it's not. They have a good chemistry together. So if they are like that together, I think that they would do a really good job of being opponents too. So if this leads up to a Wardlow versus Samoa Joe type thing, that would be fantastic. And I would be all on board with that. Still, FTR is my favorite tag team, I believe, in AEW. That's probably never going to change. Next up, I think this was probably my favorite match of the night, and I know people are probably going to get with me on that because they probably think it was Danielson and Jericho, and that was fine. But I think this match is really what fed me personally, what I like to see. Let me just say this: the Acclaimed are insanely over, and I'm glad that AEW finally did something right with people who get over on their own. Because most of the time, what you see is that they get over on their own, and then things are going well for them. And then it's like they put the brakes on them and go, oh, wait, we're going to hold on to you for a minute, and we're going to either leave you off of TV, or we're going to make you lose to somebody else so we can focus on someone else's program. And they got all these people shuffling around. And then the people who got over naturally on their own, like FTR, like Eddie Kingston, and they're probably going to do the same thing to Jamie Hayter too. She's trying to get over on her own as well. All these people who get over by themselves without any help from the company, they just seem to pump the brakes on them, and they either bury them by accident, because I don't think that they do it on purpose. They either bury them by accident or they hide them, and then they lose their momentum, and then no one starts to care. They're like, oh yeah, that guy, I remember him, he was cool back in the day. And then no reaction at all. So thankfully, it's not really they tried to do that with FTR, but FTR is just so good that when they actually do show up, people are like, oh, thank God, it's FTR. That means we're getting great wrestling. But it doesn't happen with everyone, and I think it's sad. Ray says, love the Acclaim, but having Swerve have to cheat is crazy. Billy Gunn is 87 years old. Swerve is awesome. I'm going to respectfully disagree with that. Billy Gunn is old, okay? Well, I'll agree with you on that part, but Billy Gunn is in stupid shape. Billy Gunn can still get the job done. He looks fantastic, and he can wrestle circles around some of them younger dudes, in my opinion. So I think, and plus, Billy Gunn is part of this Acclaim thing, so the crowd is behind him. They weren't going to totally get behind a clean loss with Swerve versus Billy Gunn. Now, do I think it's eventually going to happen? Yes, but I think it's just they're trying to stamp that heel turn with Swerve, because he's just showing that he's willing to do anything to get the win. He will cheat if he has to. So I think I can see really big things for a good heel Swerve Strickland. I think he would be really awesome, and I think he could eventually be one of that company's top heels if they let him do it. See, that's another thing. Don't pump the brakes on this dude. Let him get that momentum that he's getting on his own as a heel. I mean, everybody was so for the Acclaimed, it kind of forced them to turn. It forced Swerve to turn, and he just kind of went with it because he's that good, right? He knows, he can understand, he can read the room. Like, oh, I am not the favorite right now, so I need to act like, a jerk, and take advantage of that heat, take advantage of getting that heat. So I think him cheating to get that win last night was just fine. But pro wrestling is subjective. So if you didn't like it, you didn't like it, and that's okay. All right, I'm going to quit babbling on. My throat is killing me right now. Shane. Hi, Shane. I just don't get the scissors me chant thing. It's just them trying to be funny and being with vulgar sayings. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's the same thing with DX. It's along that same lines. I don't really like all that stuff either. but I like the Acclaim themselves. I like Billy Gunn himself, you know, and you know what? They're using something to get themselves over, so I can't really fault in that. It's just not my personal taste in comedy, I guess you'd say. Harry says Billy deserves a legit run. He has a lot of left in the tank. He does. Not just like on AEW stuff, but back in 2018, I was at a show in Spartanburg, and I was there to meet Mick Foley and stuff like that. And Billy Gunn was there. He was wrestling who we know as Jake Hager now. And I got to meet him for a few minutes, and that was a cool interaction. I won't get into all that. At some point, I'll have to tell the story, though, because it was pretty funny. But anyway, him, Billy Gunn, and Jake Hager were the main event that night. And that was one of the best matches that I'd ever seen, like live and in person. And I was just like, how old is that guy? Where is the fountain of youth? I want to know, because I think he found it. Ray says, no, he's still in time from the GOAT, Adam Cole. Well, unfortunately, Adam Cole, this brought to mind, I don't know why I didn't mention it, but Adam Cole is currently still not cleared from his bad concussion a couple months ago. So we are not sure when Adam Cole will be back in the ring. It's very sad. It makes me cry just as much as you, Ray, because I miss Adam Cole too. But you know, we want him to be healthy first. We definitely don't want him jumping into that ring when he's not healthy. Shane says, did y'all notice that Billy Gunn is the only member of DX that can still wrestle? Yeah, pretty much. Because Shawn Michaels isn't looking all that great. Triple H can't be touched. You know, Road Dogg has his own health problems as well. So, yeah. I don't know about Sean Waltman, though, X-Pac. I don't know. I know he's been involved in some angles with GCW and stuff, but I don't know if he can actually wrestle a match. I don't know. Is he not cleared to wrestle? I mean, I've seen him in angles in GCW, but I've never actually seen him wrestle. But I don't know how well he can, if he can, though. So there's that. But Billy Gunn, yeah, of all the people I know, is the ones who can still wrestle and the ones who can still wrestle well. No, he is not better yet. He is still not cleared. They do not know at all when he's going to be able to come back, is what I read yesterday, I think. So, unfortunate circumstances. Okay. So, next, we have one of the biggest stars of the company with Renee with the back. No, it might have not been Renee. It might have been Tony. Anyway, we have an MJF promo, and I don't know how I feel about this promo. It just seems very obscure. They're pushing this MJF self battling thing going on. Like all of a sudden, MJF has a conscience. All of a sudden, MJF is thinking about things. All of a sudden, he has morals. I did think that the Carlton line to Stokely was pretty funny. You know, get your Carlton outfit wearing rear end out of my face. I thought that was pretty funny. But this promo feels weird. I don't know exactly what they're doing with it. It just seems out of the blue. Are they going to actually turn him heel, or are they going to, turn him baby, or are they just going to tease it? because he's done that in the past too, right? With the CM Punk thing and with the Cody thing. He's teased babyface turns before, but he's never actually fallen through it, and it's always been part of his maniacal plan, right, to take down his opponent. Is that what's going on, or is he legitimately all of a sudden getting a conscience? And I don't know how I feel about that at this current moment, because I think AEW desperately needs big main card heels. They have some, main card baby faces already. They have John Moxley, they have Bryan Danielson, they have Hangman Adam Page. That's already covered. They need a really good, big, strong main event heel. So I don't think that this is the right time to turn him face yet. Now, if they eventually maybe start building up Swerve as that and bringing him up, then that's fine. But they need that strong bad guy presence, because just having these little tiny weak ones all the time isn't going to work. And I know Jericho's this is heel supposedly, but it's really hard to hate Jericho because he's been around for so long and people like to sing his song. So it's really hard to boo him. I mean, it's easy if he's wrestling Eddie Kingston, but if he's wrestling anybody else, it's hard to boo him. So I don't want them to turn him face yet. And I know that sounds biased because I really like him as a heel. And I think that's what he'd probably be best at, but I don't think this is the right time to turn him face. Let's see what you guys think. Carlos says someone put online that they had Young Bucks merchandise at the arena. Maybe they're coming back soon. I don't know, because they had CM Punk merchandise a couple weeks ago. Ray, what is wrong with Adam Cole? What injury does he have? He has a concussion. Yeah, and Ray answered that too. My friend Saint is in the house. He says hello. What is going on, my friend? Harry says, I thought the MJF promo was strange too, but Chris thought it was on the money. I mean, it wasn't horrible in and of itself. Like, if this is what they are planning to do, then it did the job well, because he's MJF and he can perform what they want him to perform. He's not going to bomb it. It's just, is this the right decision? Is what I'm concerned about. Ray says if Swerve heals up, then heal Keith Lee too. I'm okay with that. Shane is asking, I don't know why AEW is not using Miro. He can be a heel or he can be a good guy. Yeah, where is Miro? They were building him up in this House of Black thing, and I know the House of Black isn't around anymore because Malachi Black has some issues he's got to deal with, and Buddy Matthews is off doing his own thing as well. But you don't just drop Miro, you find something for him to do. And he could be another one of those real big main event heels. He could also be a main event babyface too, depending on what you give him. He can do either. And I'm not saying, I hope you guys don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that MJF could not pull off a believable babyface. I believe he can do anything that he sets his mind to. He is so stinking talented. He is fantastic in every sense of the word. I just don't think that this right now is the right time to turn him heel. I think he needs to be heel, especially going into this thing. We've had a babyface champion for a year now, going into November. Hangman Adam Page was a babyface. CM Punk was a babyface. John Moxley is a babyface. That's 3 AEW champions that have been a face. we need a heel champion for a little while to get those babies to chase it, because that's where the money is when you have the heel holding the title and the babies chasing it. That's where the real money is. Okay, moving on. Speaking of the AEW Championship and baby faces, we have Jon Moxley. He comes out to the ring and he cuts a promo about their match next week. Of course, Moxley always does good. He reiterates what he is all about. He is there to carry the company on his shoulders and to soldier on. He says for as long as he's been there, all 3 years, he's been on the top more than anybody else, and that's true, pretty much. And no one can touch him, and he's strong, and he's pretty much built the company on his back. Who can argue with that? And Hangman Adam Page comes out there, and he's looking very emotional, and he's looking desperate, and he knows that this is one of his last shots at getting his title back, because he used to be a champion as well. And getting pretty personal with Moxley, I thought that he looked pretty good. Now everybody's fawning over the Hangman Adam Page promo. I thought it was a little too dramatic. It's just, a personal preference. I don't think he did anything wrong. I just thought it was a little over the top for my personal taste. But it was okay. It was a good segment. It did what it's supposed to do, which was to promote and to sell their championship match for the next week. I thought this was good because most of the time, with any of the titles, they like to just throw them on the card randomly. Oh, we're going to have this match next week, and it's going to be a championship match. And there was no build up to it. And then you're sitting there going, well, why are they fighting? Why? What's going on? And you don't get anything out of it. So there at least was this story build up to it. So I can't complain too much. And despite all of the weird MJF stuff going on here, the camera shot with MJF looming up in the box seat, looking down on Hangman and Jon Moxley, facing face to face with each other in the ring, him looking down on them with his poker chip like he's waiting for the best possible moment to cash that booger in on them. That was a good visual spot. My throat is killing me from talking so much. Guys, this is why I like to get co-hosts on here with me so I don't have to do all the freaking talking. All right. What do we got here? Shane says, I'd like to see Miro feud with Wardlow. That would be good. I wouldn't mind seeing that either. Ray says, I agree. Need a top heel. Please, God, make Adam Cole better, please. Yes. We need to send prayer emojis up for Adam Cole, for him to get better. Where'd it go? I lost it. Oh my goodness. Oh, there it is. Sorry, guys. It's in a different place than on my other one. All right. Some good well wishes for Adam Cole to get better. Okay. So what is next? Oh, Ray has one more comment. He said that Mox's promo was awesome. Page was great too, but hitting himself was weird. He bruised his head. That's why I said it was too dramatic for me. It was a little too much. Okay. So the next thing on the card on the show. The next segment was a Ring of Honor championship match. Jericho, the Ring of Honor champion, versus Bryan Danielson. Match was good. Nothing bad to say about the match. Very end, Daniel Garcia comes out, and it looks like he's going to go after Jericho and solidify his face turn and pick Daniel Garcia and pick the side of Danielson. That does not happen. He instead turns on Danielson, sort of, and attacks him. And it's revealed that he is still with the Jericho Appreciation Society. So this felt like a tease. AEW likes to do these a lot. I think they overdo it just a little bit, where you think, oh my, they're going to turn on them. Oh my, we saw it with Jamie Hayter with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, yeah, we saw it with Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker, thinking that she was going to turn face and turn against her, but she never did. And we've seen it with Sammy Guevara as well, with Jericho himself, and now we're seeing with Daniel Garcia and Jericho. And I don't know, I don't get the hype of Daniel Garcia. I can see he's trying, so I don't want to like nag on him too much, but I'm just not invested in Daniel Garcia quite yet. So this didn't maybe have the same effect on me as it did other people. What do you guys think? Did you like this segment? Did you like the tease? Do you like this build up? Or you just like me and you're just like, okay, it's there. Are you getting tired of them just teasing stuff all the time and it never actually following through with it? Or do you think this is just the next chapter in the story and that they're eventually going to have Daniel Garcia turn on Jericho? Shane wants to see a no personalities barred match. Oh, sorry. I'd like to see Wheeler Yuta versus Garcia in a no holds barred match. I'm going to tell you something funny that I was thinking about, and I don't think I've shared this yet before. But a couple weeks ago, when Wheeler Yuta came out and interrupted MJF, and when MJF looked at him and said, "Your personality is like drawing paint," and when you went to the Blackpool Combat Club, you graduated to a pet rock. That was a really smart comment, and I don't know if if everybody like really got a hold of that. And I didn't think about it. I didn't grasp it either until I started thinking about it. That on his own, he has zero personality. So when he went to the Blackpool Combat Club, they gave him one. So he's like the pet rock. I thought that was hilarious. Saint says 983,000 was their official viewership ratings from last night, keeping it close. Yeah, they're at least maintaining a decent, like, what they kind of started with. So I can't knock them too much. I mean, I think that they should make some changes, because I think if they would make the quality changes that I've been talking about, I think that they would do well. And it's not just me and my, obviously not expert level or anything. It's just little things that I notice. If they would change some of that, I think that they would go over that. But that's just me. Okay, speaking of Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, They were in a tag team match versus Hikaru Shida and Tony Storm, and the baby faces win the match. I believe. I think Shida got the win for them. And what I have to say about this is nothing, because this meant nothing. And I'm not trying to knock the ladies. Y'all know that I have been an advocate for women's wrestling forever. Okay? If y'all have paid attention to any of my shows at any point in time, I I love the women's wrestling. I like watching them. I think that they have just as much to offer as the men do. However, this company don't seem to trust them at all. They don't want to give them any time. They don't want to give them any story. This is just thrown together, and we're going around in circles. Here we go around the mulberry bush once again, and this means nothing. I'm glad that I'll give them this. Okay, there's one positive, and that their women's world champion is on the show every week. I'll give them that, because before, Thunder Rosa would have it and you wouldn't see her for 3 weeks. Even Britt Baker, when she had it, she wasn't really on the show every single week. Tony Storm's been on the show every week, so I'll give them that. However, what they're giving her is a whole bunch of nothing. This ain't doing her any favors. This ain't doing the women's division any favors. It ain't doing whatever match that they might be building up to the next pay-per-view any favors. They just do not freaking care about their women's division. Okay? Plain and simple. They don't care about it. And it doesn't look like that they are going to care about it anytime soon. I'm really hoping that Soraya's presence there is going to change that, but we'll see. It just right now, at this current time, it feels like they don't. Ray says, love crazy Anna Jay. Wish she could work better. Her gimmick is awesome. So sick of Jade. She's on the beach of annoying with Bailey and Seth. Ron says, it's too overcomplicated for the story side of it. It's not. Shane says, the women in AEW are just spinning their wheels. I agree with that 100%. It's ridiculous that they have a world champion and you hardly ever see a title shot for anyone. Well, actually, she was defending it quite a bit there for a little while. She was defended it, I think she defended about 2 or 3 weeks in a row. I know it was like one of them, she was in like a fatal 4-way, and then the next night she defended it in a one-on-one versus Serena Deeb. But there's nothing involving around those title shots. They were just thrown together randomly. Hold on, guys. My throat decided to close up. Sorry about that. Yes, Carlos. I'll go ahead and make that point right now. Dynamite next week is on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. And over on Peaches and Power Bombs, I believe Alora and I are going to do a watch along for that night, because I'll actually be able to watch the entire thing as it's live. And that never happens because I'm usually at church on Wednesday night. So that'll be, so come on and have Ray, that's a controversial topic that I really don't like to talk about all that much. Not really. I don't have a problem with it because she seems to be pretty safe with people. I haven't heard of her hurting anybody. So as long as she's safe in there with them, and as far as I'm concerned, I think she's safer than Nia Jax ever was. Nia Jax was hurting people left and right. So, okay. the main event, I actually didn't see this. I just saw the results. I turned it off. So y'all are going to have to tell me how the match was. We had the All Atlantic Championship with Pac versus Orange Cassidy. I didn't see the match, so I don't know how good it was. I don't know how bad it was, whatever, or anything. I don't know if any shenanigans happened during it.
Shenanigans.
I just know that Orange Cassidy is our new All Atlantic champion. Good for him getting his first title, I guess. This title doesn't really mean anything right now, so I'm okay with him having it. I don't know, maybe he can do something with it. I don't know. We'll see. Straight Up Wrestling Show. I think this is this Chris or Harry going straight up against NXT next week. It should be interesting. Yep, OC did win his first title. Ray says, "Seeing Orange Crappy when made me sick. I have sneakers that way more horrible." The way you put things is funny. Shane says, "It was bad. There is no way Orange Cassidy should have beat Pac." Well, he's done it before, hasn't he? I don't know. It's really hard to make it believable for Orange Cassidy to beat anybody. I mean, he's good. I'm not going to knock that he doesn't have some talent, and he's entertaining and he's amusing to watch. He's not my favorite by any means. When I think pro wrestler, I don't automatically think of him. But he gets a laugh out of me, and I chuckle some and enjoy my time. But I don't take him seriously. So if you want to take this title seriously, I'm guessing Orange Cassidy shouldn't have it. I don't know. I really don't care at this point. Ray says, "I have dinner plates that weigh more." Okay. So the pros of this show, I'll say this: Wardlow and Samoa Joe and FTR were on it. That's a good thing. Had some decent matches with like Swerve and Billy Gunn and Danielson and Jericho. Those were good matches. They told some stories. We might not agree with all the stories that they're telling, but they are telling some with like MJF, with Moxley and Hangman Page. They're actually doing something with the Acclaimed. They're not dropping the ball on them, so that's a good thing. But the cons, they put too many random matches that don't mean anything together. They don't have a clear set of rules for their wrestling matches. They rely way too heavily on foreign objects. And why are tables allowed in traditional wrestling matches? They always have to go to the floor and fight. They don't ever keep it inside the ring. Well, I think the Billy Gunn and Swerve match was basically just inside the ring, but Billy Gunn's old school, so there's that. Anyway, there's all that. There's good things, there's bad things about it, but the worst thing about last night's show is that there was zero, absolutely nothing, no Eddie Kingston anywhere on that show. So
fight me, fight me, fight me, fight me, fight me, don't fight me.
And that's a monstrosity, guys. That's just bad, evil. You don't do that. I'm just kidding. Straight Up Wrestling Show. Pockets rocked the house last night. He came back after being destroyed, and it's Harry. Okay. Shane says, "I could say the same thing about Darby, but at least he's entertaining." Darby, I don't know. Darby is interesting because I both like and hate Darby all at the same time. Not hate, but I like him and I don't like him all in one. Ray Dean will not get off the Orange Cassidy hate. He likes to stay there. Great carb, just no OC, please. And Ray says they need Eddie. Definitely. They do need Eddie. I miss him. Am I mistaken? But isn't Swerve Scott kill shot in Lucha Underground? I thought Lucha Underground wasn't a thing anymore. Do you mean AAA? Or did they bring Lucha Underground back and I just didn't know? Not sure about that. All right, guys. That was AEW show. I will be back tomorrow evening. Hopefully, Will Ospreay is in New Japan, isn't he? He's not signed with AEW. He's signed with New Japan. I will be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Hopefully with Luke Walsh to preview tomorrow's SmackDown and tomorrow's Rampage for another edition of Tailgate Party. Thank you guys for joining me for this special Thursday edition. Like I said yesterday, I just had something that came up that needed my immediate attention, so I wasn't able to do the podcast. And then the week before, I had my flu shot, so I was feeling yucky for a couple days, so I didn't do my TRWC podcast. So I was like, okay, I gotta do something for my people. I can't just leave them hanging 2 weeks in a row. So I decided to come for a special Thursday edition. So I hope you guys had a good time. I'm going to go ahead and say good night. It is time for me to eat something. My blood sugar is starting to drop a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and say good night. I will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all behave. Y'all have a good time. And I'll see you next time. See you later. Bye.